Hey, Allison, welcome to the Retail Whore Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I'm super excited. We had Kat, so her episode's already been aired. Oh, has it been aired yet? Yeah, her episode's already aired, and you are the next partner that we're lucky enough to interview. Tell everybody about yourself and your brand.
My name is Allison Carter. I own a company called Allison Carter Celebrates, where my sole goal is to be like the mom bestie in life and business. I help make moms' lives easier, a hell of a lot more fun. I have a subscription box company called Memories and Moments Unwrapped. So all those moms running businesses that have a million things to do, and then they forget that like that fun holidays coming up. It just gets delivered to your door, checked off your list. So you get to be that cool mom, do all the fun little crafts and activities that you don't have to think of because nobody wants to do that, but you still get like the pat on the back and the happy smiles and all the memories made. Check that off your list. And then I also coach women in business, in PR and media and visibility strategies. And my partner Kat and I are hosting an epic event for product-based businesses this May called the Ultimate Product Party, which is basically our sole focus in life right now is like all roads lead to UPP. So we're momming, we're building our own businesses, and we're planning this event at the same time. So life is a little crazy town, but I'm an Enneagram 7, so this is where I thrive.
I'm super excited for this event. We know we've talked about it on the podcast. I'm going, actually, my client who I do her store up in Morgan Hill. She and I are co-creating a candle line together. So she's going to come up for that as well as the person who the hustler of this week episode is also going to go. So I'll have a couple people there, which will be kind of fun because while I want to do this by myself and like meet all these different people and have a chance to engage and not be like in your safe circle, I am kind of glad that I'm going to have.
Oh my gosh. There. I've done both. So I've gone to events where I've not known a soul, and I've gone to events where there's like a safety net. And I mean, both are good for different reasons, but the safety net is really nice. Like to just have there was one event that I went to and I met a couple local girls for brunch before I went. And it was like, I'm really glad I did that because this was like a thousands and thousands person event. And it was nice to just have a face in the crowd, somebody to go to lunch with and do the thing. So it is nice. And this event's going to be, like 100, 150 people. And so it's like intimate enough that you'll meet instant friends. Nobody will be sitting alone. Everybody will be included and have a seat, but you'll still be able to kind of hang with people, and make connections. And it would be so fun to have like a Retail Whore podcast meetup or like a fun happy hour or something. That would be super fun.
I'm really excited. I mean, I'm super excited also to make some great connections for the podcast as well. So, I'm not going there with the intention for retail. I'm actually going for my main hustle, which is MC Design Collaboration, because we're starting to do paid content this year. So, but it will be nice to be able to make some brand new introductions to people and get the name out there. Since we're talking about, tell us a little bit more about the Ultimate Product Party.
Yeah, so Ultimate Product Party, or we call it UPP, and my business, Allison Carter Celebrates, is ACC. So I'm like all the letters up in the air, like you know what I'm down with the UPP. Yeah, you know me. Like that's what I say all the time. Kat and I really felt a gap in the market for product-based businesses. We have both attended multiple events for building our businesses, and so many events are catered to influencers and bloggers and service providers, and even courses and online coaches are so geared towards service. And you take like a course on Reels or something, and it's like teach and educate and all of this stuff. And it's like, well, I have a product that I'm selling. Like, I don't, what do you mean? Like product is such a different beast, and you can have these women in business friends and you can have entrepreneur networks, but there's a certain like box that product-based businesses check that other entrepreneurs don't get. They don't get the inventory and the overhead costs. And sure, I'm running an online business, but I have a storage unit that I pay hundreds of dollars for every single month of stuff that I put in boxes and leftover inventory and future inventory and shipping and dealing with the nightmare that is USPS and like packaging. And there's all of these things that product-based businesses get and not everybody else gets. And so we wanted to create a space for those women in business to come together and be around people who get it and learn from people that are directly teaching on product-based businesses. And so all of our speakers and experts, they either coach product-based businesses, they own product-based businesses, they are experts in their field, from everything from licensing your artwork, print on demand, marketing without Facebook ads, like storytelling with your product, brand pillars. I'm going to be teaching a workshop on PR and visibility. Kat's going to be teaching on wholesale. So really runs the gamut on where you are as a product-based business owner, or if you're a business owner that is thinking about adding product to your suite, which we fully endorse because we are big believers in diversifying your income and not having all your eggs in one basket. And product, especially if you go digital or print on demand or something like that, so easy to add physical to your suite. And so we have a little snippet of something for everybody. And the sole goal of this conference is you leave with an action plan. You don't leave sitting in a room consuming, and then you go home and you open your notes and you're like, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do. Like, we have space for work. We have space for action planning time. All of our speakers and educators are committed in their contract to being mentors throughout the event, walking around, attending with you, being available for questions, pulling them aside for a quick brainstorm sesh. They're really dedicated to helping everybody build their business just as much as Kat and I are. And so I think we're creating this special little immersive experience that I literally cannot wait to see come to life.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. So are you going to film it so people and sell it later that, somebody couldn't go to it? Are you going to market that?
No, we talked about it. We actually went back and forth on it, but we both feel there's such power in attending an event. We don't want to get in the virtual space. I also don't want I don't want it to be an excuse not to come. I mean, is my really honest answer. We want people there. We want bodies. We want connections. There is nothing more powerful than a face-to-face connection. The connections that I've made at events have insanely impacted my business, have made me thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars in the collaborations and the doors they've opened. I met a Better Homes and Gardens editor at a conference that I have worked with a bunch of times. She's referred me to multiple editors. I've worked with many different publishing houses, like through my connection with her. And so you never know what's going to happen in the magic of an event, and you miss that behind a screen. And so yes, our educators are going to have so much good content, but the power of this event is being here and being in the experience and meeting the people and having that mentorship and all of that. And we just don't want to bottle it up in a package and in a way to lose that magic. We want FOMO because we want you to come now and we want you to come next year.
Yeah, so you are going to do it. It's going to be a continued.
We are anticipating that it will be an annual thing. Let us get through the first one for sure, and then decompress by the pool on a Friday once it's over. And I'm sure we'll be scheming immediately on what next year will look like.
I was laughing because somebody was asking me where I was staying. I'm like, I didn't even put two and two together. I'm staying at some place called the Westward Ho.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How appropriate for the retail whore.
That's perfect. I know that hotel. There are so many fun places in Scottsdale, and there's some of my favorite food in the world is in Scottsdale. And if anybody is coming, and this has nothing to do with the event, but my favorite Botox girl in the world, best, the best, the best, is in Gilbert, which is like a 20-30 minute Uber ride, but worth every freaking penny. So if you happen to get there early or can squeeze it in, DM me Allison Carter Celebrates Our Ultimate Product Party, and I will send you her information
Oh
because
my God,
she is
hilarious.
phenomenal. And I'm like, we'll have an appointment with her before I fly.
So because I didn't plan on talking as much about this, but it is really one of those questions that I meant to ask Kat was, have you guys have not had your own event before? Like, how do you even begin to plan? Because I was like looking through the website and it's very multi-layered and because you have breakout sessions, like how the hell do you plan something like that when you've never is there some kind of like guide that you follow, or you just literally make it up as you go?
Gut, make it up. Kat and I truly believe everything is figure outable, and we have led that mindset through our whole business. We are determined AF little women, and we will figure it out. And we have literally figured everything out. And our negotiation skills are freaking on point at this point. And like, coming back with quotes from vendors and being like, okay, what can we do about this? We are getting really like ballsy almost, because at the beginning we're like, oh, we don't know, like budget. I don't know. Do we tell them our budget? That was the hardest, the financial aspect of this, and really calling our shot on what that big budget number is going to be, and then how to reverse engineer that. That was the hardest probably to decide. And then this event, actually, the conversation that we had over cocktails in Nashville at a retreat that I was hosting was, let's do retreat style, small group, 10 to 15 women in a big house. And it's like next level, like $100,000 plus revenue and ready to make that next leap. And then we were thinking it's way higher ticket. Like, I don't know if maybe we need to reverse this and start out kind of smaller ticket, bigger, try and get more people there at a smaller price point, and then kind of branch off into having this be an annual thing, or then having this be an extension for retreats or something else or something like that. But it's kind of morphed into what we have seen at events, what we have loved from events, which we have not liked from events, and what ideally as attendees our blow your mind out of the water event would truly be, and how to pull that off in the budget that we have.
Yeah, because you guys are bankrolling this whole thing.
100%. Well, we do have a few sponsors, but yes, Kat and I, this is the biggest investment either of us have ever made in our business, and the biggest leap into the unknown for sure that we have both taken. But I say it all the time, like, growth doesn't come from comfort zones. So I just, like, everything that I've ever done scared has always worked out. And I really just believe that this is a meant to be next step.
I love that more than anything, because that's seriously like what I think. I've literally feel like I've flown by the seat of my pants my entire career, from like taking on stores at Fred Siegel to, on a whim, I'm going to start this podcast, to now that I'm starting to do the paid content. I'm like, I said to somebody, I feel like that pig in that commercial for Geico, and he's hanging out the window, and I feel like I'm just throwing money out the window, because I just, I'm starting I have to start another website, and I'm having somebody like professionally build that. And then, the camera equipment, everything that goes into it, I'm like, oh my God. But I truly believe, I'm like, if I don't pull the trigger and I don't just push through this fear that I've always had, it's like, it's never going to happen. So I finally am like, I'm just doing it, but God damn.
Totally.
So scary.
Really, since I just celebrated 5 years with Allison Carter Celebrates last Saturday, and every year I have come up with something new, and because it's just has felt organically that it's needed to happen. So I started my business with these digital party planning guides and checklists, solely online, solely passive income, like everything. It was a theme. You want a race car party, you go to my website, you download the PDF, your whole party is there, shopped for you, linked, everything like that. That's how I started my business.
Wow, that's great.
That's how I started making a name for myself in the celebration space. that morphed into a podcast because people were like, what do you do for like Valentine's Day? Or what do you do for first day of school? Do you have some fun ideas for that? Like those other aspects of mom life. And so I was like, okay, instead of really diving into blogging, which is photos and content creation and so much work, I started my business with a 3-year-old and a 6-month-old, and I just didn't have the headspace or the clean enough house to constantly like create all those photos. And so I was like, podcast, I can talk for days. Like I am personable. Like I love the sound of my voice. I like attention. So let's like put myself in a podcast and just talk about different topics, invite other women to share. And so that really took off. And that morphed into the subscription boxes. And it literally was 1 year at 1 year, 1 year. And then then we did the event and like started planning the event. And I did a YouTube channel because video is really where I shine the most. And so it just has morphed. And so that's how business works. And so now adding coaching especially has really transformed my business because it's kind of let me step into all of the credibility that I've built for myself in the things that I've done with my business and how I've built it up and how I can help other women do the same thing. Because I'm a few chapters ahead, like that confidence in trying all those new things and implementing those things and not being scared to say the yes. There's been plenty of failures, but like I would not have known those successes if I hadn't just said, yes, let's try it. And I do think that's a huge secret to my success is that I'm not afraid to take chances. And I really encourage others to do the same because you don't know what's on the other side of that yes. It's the same thing I tell my clients when they're nervous to pitch like big media, like I'm too small to pitch Martha Stewart. And I'm like, you're actually not. I got featured in Forbes like less than a year after I started my business with like barely any audience. Like you're not too small. It's about the content that you have to put in front of that audience and how you're going to serve them. But if you don't take a chance on yourself and if you don't try, it will always be a no. And so if you do try, it could be a yes. And that sounds a lot more fun.
Okay, I have so much to unpack from that. I'm like, okay, first, the podcast that you created your second year, are you still doing that? And if so, what is the podcast?
The podcast is called Memories and Moments. It is still on iTunes. I stopped it around COVID. It was really hard to record with the kids being home and schedules. We also moved. We had a giant remodel and it was just, I had to take a step back from the podcast. It was causing me a lot more stress. Podcasting is no joke, as you know. It is a lot. You don't think it's as much of work as it is.
No.
But the thing about the podcast, which is funny because I started the podcast as I didn't want the visual aspect, but what happened was with the podcast, I needed the visual aspect. I always was like, refer back to, because I have such a visual business, parties and holidays and celebrations and mom things. And so the YouTube channel, Turning Up the Volume with Allison Carter, that kind of overtook the podcast. So that's a weekly show that comes out every Wednesday. And it is the same vibe, but I'm able to showcase the things that I'm talking about. Shorter episodes. I obviously don't have guests and stuff like that, but the podcast on iTunes, it has so much content. Like it's so good, all still very relevant, just not continuing to be updated.
And the YouTube, I did the same thing when I started the podcast. Like originally it was like, I wanted it to be, because all retailers are all really visual. I mean, like from windows to floors. Yeah. So it's like, I'm talking to retailers about their stores and it's like, me as a retailer, like I want to see what that store looks like. So we just incorporate, originally was to go out in both, but I have zero tech knowledge. Like Elisa does all of the back house stuff and the website, etc. Catherine does all the editing. Like but the idea of now having that much payroll on editing YouTube and editing podcast, but then Kat's like, fuck it, just fucking put it out there. So yeah, I told the girls, I'm like, I guess we're just putting it out there. It's unedited. I mean, this doesn't get that edited, to be honest. Like it pretty much rolls straight through. And you know, if there's something that somebody wants to take out, I'll ask her to take it out. But it's pretty much I'm glad Kat said that, because honestly, it's like that little nugget of information was like, okay, let's just do it. So So now, okay, now start me with what did you do prior to opening your subscription box? I know you started with, the online thing where they could download the PDF, but what did you do prior to that?
I taught second grade for years.
Uh,
And then I had my daughter and never went back. And I always, always, always thought that I would go back to teaching. Like ever since I was in first grade, you asked me what I wanted to be, I would always say teacher. Like there was nothing else. I never wavered in that. Went to school, became a teacher, taught fourth grade, and then moved to second grade, which was fully my home. Loved second grade so much and loved being a teacher, loved it. And then Evie came and I loved being with her more. And so I stayed home. And then Hudson came 3 years later and I still was home. And then literally my business randomly fell into my lap with a conversation that I had with girlfriends about planning first birthday parties. And I crafted this party guide for my girlfriend that was having trouble planning a party, didn't have time. She's a corporate mom, works for Microsoft, and she was like, I can't plan the party. And I was like, I'll do it. So I like threw some ideas on a Google Slides because I didn't even have PowerPoint or Keynote or I didn't even know what Keynote was on my Mac. I didn't even have a computer because I had to turn it into my school when I quit teaching. So I like stole my husband's laptop and put some ideas for this fiesta party on Google Slides. I knew she didn't have time to like find the things for herself. So I linked it all, sent it to her, and she was like, this is literally mind blowing. And then other people found out I was doing that and asked me to start planning their parties in that way. And it just kind of morphed into something I loved. And I didn't realize how much I missed having something for me. And I didn't really realize how much I lost a big part of me being at home with my kids and just being all about them.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, starting my business was the greatest gift I ever gave myself. And honestly, the greatest gift I gave my family, because it made me like a person again. And it made me a million times more present because I was fulfilling myself. And so I could show up in a way that was fulfilling for them too.
I think a lot of moms know they need something else. I don't think that they realize just how much, and I'm not a mom, so I don't, but I know my girlfriends who, you're at home with kids all day and you're immersed in diapers and like TV shows and naps, and you get like a half an hour to yourself when they're taking a nap and you kind of lose yourself. So it's really interesting. So you start the box, you progress from the PDFs into the box, like how, because there's a million, which that's why I love this subscription, because this is like the one subscription, because there's a million subscription boxes out there. And the idea that this one's geared to busy moms with all this great stuff for kids to do. Take me through the process from deciding what's going to go in it to the packaging to that storage shed that you pay hundreds of dollars a month for.
Yes, the subscription box was a direct ask from my customers, not a subscription, but through the podcast, it was like, we love your ideas, but like, can you just do that for me? Like, can I just buy it? Like, I don't want to do it. Like, I just want you to do it for me and then like ship it to me. And I was like, no, I run an online business. That means no product, no inventory, no overhead, like just my time. And then I kept getting asked and I kept getting asked. And so I was like, fuck it, let's just try it. Like they're asking. And so I literally wrote an email. I went on Instagram and I was like, I'm going to do a Halloween box. There will be 30 of them. You have to buy this, because this is like, if you're telling me you want this and you don't buy this, I'm going to be pissed. So like, if I'm going to put the effort into doing this, you have to buy it. And I did it and nobody bought it. And I was like,
shut up.
Screw you all. I'm going to kill you all. Like, I hate my audience. What are you like? Some people did, but like, I thought they were going to sell out in like an hour. And so I was like, what did I do wrong? One, I did not reveal what was in the box. Tip number one, reveal what's in the box. Because I was under the impression of like subscription boxes are like surprise mail, like, but moms buying something for themselves might want the surprise, but if they're buying something for their kids, they want to know what's in it. So lesson learned there. I quickly shifted gears, took pictures of everything in the box, talked about it a lot more. They sold super fast, done and done. Christmas sold really fast. And then I was able to partner with Ronald McDonald House of Seattle
I
to
love that.
donate 60 boxes for kids spending the holidays at the
Wow.
McDonald House. And so those got matched by I did a BOGO, so buy one, give one. And so that was really great. And so that kind of took off. And so then I started subscription like every month the following Valentine's Day. So then it just kind of has morphed. And so it's 3 to 4 different non-Pinterest mom projects. So crafts, games, I'm not a crafty mom. That's the biggest misconception. Like, I'm actually not that Martha mom. I'm not that crafty mom. I do not like doing crafts with my kids, but my kids love doing them. So I will sit down and do the things, but I don't like coming up with the ideas, and I don't like doing the things. I can, but it's not the part of momming that I enjoy. And so I really have like very low bar things. They're all cute and they're all high quality because I got good taste. You're not going to find like some random wood painting dollar store shit like in a Memories and Moments Unwrapped box. You're going to find something cute. But they're all easy. So 3 to 10 is my age range. And then bringing the party side of me, I always have like themed paper plates and napkins and straws or snack cups and, something fun for like a family date night. So right now, Lucky Rainbows is about to get sent out. So there's like rainbow plates and color stranging cloud straws and gold napkins and materials to make a leprechaun trap with gold coins. And there's this tissue paper rainbows and rainbow headband crowns that they're making. So just really fun, easy, be silly with your kids and sit down, or give it to your older kid to do with your younger kids and you take a break. Like, once the box is at your house, choose your own adventure. You want to do it with them, great. If you don't want to do it with them, like, also great. But I think for my people especially, it's like, I don't have to think about it. So I get the privilege and I get to do the things with my kids that my kids want me to do and my kids love, but I hate thinking of, I hate shopping for, and I don't like the prep, because by the time I do all that stuff, then I'm already over it, or I'm already mad at my kids for being a dick at the store and I don't even want to do the project. And so it's like, instead it just shows up at my house. I get to open it. They're excited. They get like fun mail every month, and then we get to have some fun as a family. So,
and kids are dicks at Michael's. I'm sorry, I've seen it.
they're all running around. They're grabbing those stinky ass craft kits that nobody wants, because nobody wants that picture of a painted leprechaun in their house forever. Like, nobody does. So it just is, you know what, at the end of the month, you throw your crafts away, you keep them, whatever. Like, you can do whatever you want.
What's the average subscription? Do you have different price ranges with different options?
So, yep. And boxes are for 2 kids, 3 kids, or 4 kids, because I also don't like when companies punish families for having extra kids. So like, you don't have to buy multiple boxes per kids with me. Like, the prices are increased, but there's extra supplies. So it's $38 for 2 kids, $44 for 3 kids, and $54 for 4 kids. And then I have a 3 months and a 6 month and a yearly option as well. And then each higher subscription, like length, the price per month goes down.
That's amazing. They're so well priced too. I mean, just the this cost, and like you not having to go to Michael's and like schlep all that crap. That seems like that alone is worth it for any parent.
Yeah.
Are you doing the gift shows for the non craft stuff, or are you just trolling websites?
No, I did one show. It was a conference for moms, and it was one of the biggest failures of my career. It was horrible. I hated it more than anything. It was not my audience. It was not those busy hustler moms. It was a lot of stay-at-home moms, a lot of homeschool moms that they just were not for me. They were not my audience, and so they didn't get it. And so it was like not my jam. I would be open to doing something else, but I mean, I've got so much going on, like travel wise and like being at all these things. It's a lot of work.
When you're purchasing for the non-craft, or that's what the question was really these.
Buying the
Yeah.
supplies, how I buy wholesale, you mean?
Yeah. Are you doing the gift shows or are you just like doing?
No, because mine are mine are a little different. So a lot of subscription boxes you get and there's product inside. The product that you get with mine are the paper plates and but on the party side of me, I have so many relationships with party companies that I've worked with for so long, and all those paper plates and tabletop companies I have great relationships with. I've been wholesalers for a long time. So I have all their catalogs and stuff. I don't really need to see them in person because I trust them.
Yeah. When
it comes to all the crafts, how Unwrapped is unique is each is already prepped for you. So you are getting, there's a mom in my community. My whole team is stay-at-home moms in my community. And at the start of the month, they get their jobs and a spreadsheet. They sign up for their jobs and then they come pick up all the supplies at my house. So like say the rainbow headbands, a mom cut all the strips of paper. They counted all the pipe cleaners. They bundled it together. They put the tape with it, and then that is bundled together in your box. So you really only have to pick up the thing that you want to do at that time. So it doesn't have to be, I also don't like when you open things and you have to fish around and go on a scavenger hunt. And you're like, we need pencil, we need the glue stick, everything's together. But because of that, it's a little extra legwork in doing all the prep. So somebody pouring glue in little bottles, or somebody's cutting yarn, or, different things like that. So in that way, there's nothing that I can buy when it comes to market. So I'm a wholesaler for different craft companies and supplies, arts and supplies, like a Michael's wholesaler or something like that.
It's like meal kits where everything's all pre-cut.
Exactly. That's exactly it. But all the stuff is already chopped versus just having an onion thrown in the box.
And that's exactly why I hate those kits. It's the ones that everything. I mean, for me, it's I'm busy with my job, my main hustle, and I'm recording this most times in the afternoon into the evening. So it's thank God my husband cooks and can do all that stuff, because it's here's the recipe, here's this, I'll see you in an hour and a half when I get out. But there's still times I'll be in there and he's like, I have no idea what, and I'm like, God, I wish that was just pre-done sometimes.
I know, totally. Well, yeah. And I mean, I used to do that all myself. So, I mean, box packing week was a full week checked off my calendar of me sitting on the floor, cutting and measuring and putting in baggies and then packing it all. And so now switching gears, and as I've grown, I've been able to employ moms in my community, give them something to do at nap time and bedtime, and when their kids are at school, they're making some extra cash. And then we have one day at the end of the month where they come to my house, we pack all the boxes together, get them all done, and labeled and shipped out. So it's morphed into, thank God I have help now.
I love, in reading your bio and the getting people in front, their brands in front of the Martha Stewarts and the Real Simples. You've been in some major publications like Oprah Daily, Real Simple, Forbes. Tell me a little bit about that business and you working with women and what you're going to be talking about also at this function.
Sure. That sort of accidental, but my goal was visibility. Like everybody's, but when I was about a year into my business, I was like, okay, these are actually selling. People are interested in these parties. And every time I talk to a mom about how I'm planning in this new way, they're sold. But it's I have to be talking to these moms. So how do I make a bigger splash? How do I really showcase this new way of party planning that I'm doing. Because when you either think that you have to Pinterest the party yourself, you have to, vlog rabbit hole, or you have to hire this $1,000 party planner, when I was kind of coming in and doing all that legwork in this digital way. And so I needed people to know I existed and that I was doing this. And so I was like, well, why not me? I'm just going to go try media. So I saw, and I was in a Facebook group for businesses, and a Forbes editor posted that she was looking for sources for an article that she was doing about women, like sharing their story or whatever. And so my sole goal with her pitch was, I knew I was going to get a no, because I'm like, who am I? And I wanted to open the conversation for her to give me feedback on how I can make my pitch better. Like, that was my sole motivation. And so I was like, I'm going to pitch her. She's going to tell me no. And then I'm going to say, how can I do better next time? Like, what was wrong with my pitch? If you could have like 2 minutes to give me some feedback, that would be awesome. And so I pitched her, and then she got back to me and she was like, love your story. When can we chat? I'd love to feature you in your own sole article. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. And so that was like, wow. And honestly, that taught me, like, okay, I went in and I was sharing my story, but I was sharing how I connected to other women possibly reading that story. And when I asked her like what she liked about my pitch, she said, like, you made it about my reader. You didn't make it about you, which is the most common thing that people do when they're pitching media, is that they try and sell themselves on being fancy or being an expert, or like, you need me, when no, nobody cares about you. Like, they care about their audience more than anything. As a podcaster, you know this. When you get pitched for people that want to be on your podcast, I'm sure you get way more horrible pitches than you get good pitches, because they make it about them. They don't even take the time to connect with you. They don't take the time to showcase that they know anything about your show or your audience. That's
100%.
the number one downfall. And so when I started realizing, like, okay, let's make these lists and let's see where are the places that I fit. Like, obviously I fit, like, Martha Stewart would be huge. Like, that would be a great place for me to go. Parents would be a huge get for me. Like, let's start crafting how to do these pitches and how I can come up with these story ideas and how I can find these editors' names. And I just really scrapped it together. I did a ton of podcast interviews, still do. You approach me for a podcast, my answer will always be yes, because you never know who's on the other side of that car, dishes, like, you're in their ears and their most like intimate times. You're walking around the neighborhood with them, you're doing carpool with them. And so a podcast is like huge for establishing know, like, and trust. One of my main goals in my business is to like have people be friends with me. Like, I want to be that friend on the internet that you're like, oh my God, like, what is Allison doing today? Like, she's talking about her period. She's like, just eating pesto eggs for dinner. Like I am a soul open book, and I'm on the internet like I exactly am with my girlfriends in real life. And I do that intentionally because people buy and they put their trust into the people that they like. And so when it comes to coaching, you will not find anything about coaching on my website. But coaching surpassed my revenue from boxes last year, and it was soul secret club style selling. Like, it was selling in DMs. It was me posting a couple stories. It was people gravitating to want to work with me and just waiting till I posted something. It's something I rarely talk about, but when I do talk about it, I sell it like super fast, because I've established a relationship with the people that I serve in my community, and they trust me, and they've seen what I've done in my business, and they've seen the features that I've had and the relationships I have with editors, and they want help in, following in my footsteps. And so I think that's a huge part of it. And I'm also incredibly transparent. Like, I will tell anybody anything, because I don't feel like I need to have these like secret gate in what I've done, because I really haven't done anything super special. I've just, at the end of the day, honestly, I've said yes. I've said yes to myself, and I took chances, and I put myself out there, and I've gotten a hell of a lot more no's and ghosts than I have yeses, but I've got some pretty big ass yeses that have led to a lot of huge opportunities.
Like yesterday, like total side note, I go to Pilates, and I don't know if you know the handbag line Hammett.
Mm-mm.
Major line out of LA, and it's like they've got, like, I don't know how many locations, but she trains the owner, so he's standing there and she's like, I know who he is, because who he is in the industry, and
Yeah.
she's casually talking, and I'm like, I strike up a conversation, I go to the restroom, I come out, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna say it right now, I'm gonna have really big balls, I'm gonna ask you if you want to be on the podcast. He's like, sure, okay, I've got one with tomorrow with Forbes, and then I'll have another, if I'll have some time, well, let me get you a time. But I just, the put yourself out there, and the authenticity, it's like
Really?
that, just what you just said. I think for anybody that does anything in front of a camera, their business, their brand, like whatever, like that's the Instagram accounts that make me insane, or like all the families that do the matching outfits, and they're beautiful, but it doesn't feel terribly authentic. Like, I'm in gym clothes, and like I cuss and I say words wrong, and I will admittedly like do not understand tech. And I guess that's some of why we've had such a good response, is because, but I can't imagine doing this, trying to be somebody else as opposed
Oh
to
my gosh.
who I really am. I don't think I could keep it up, to be honest.
Well, I mean, if you follow any, which you probably don't because not your niche in any sort of way, but if you follow any party bloggers, mom DIYers, anything like that on Instagram, all their feeds are exactly the same. They're beautiful, and their snacks and their projects and their like things they do with their kids are so cute. But that is not me. Like, I don't want to play with my kids all the time. I don't want them around me all the time. Like, and I have always been incredibly honest about, I take breaks. I leave. I prioritize my marriage. I prioritize my own alone time and my own mental health. Like, all of those things, I go against the grain of a lot of party bloggers, a lot of these mom accounts that have this wall and they have that stigma. And I can throw a freaking gorgeous party. I throw a party that's been featured in Martha Stewart, but I also do that for my kid's birthday. I don't do that every Monday because I'm taking pictures of this party that never happens, like for no freaking reason. Like, and I don't need to do all those things for my kids because I don't want to, and that's not me. And if I am showcasing myself online, I can't show up as anyone other than me. I don't know how. And so I can help you with your holidays 100%. And I can help you with party ideas, and I can give you some fun mom tricks and some easy recipe ideas or something like that. I can help you build your business, but I'm going to swear, I'm going to be messy. I'm going to show my house that, yes, is beautiful because I just paid $1 bajillion million to remodel and rebuild the whole thing. So like, I'm honest in all of that. And I do not in any way compare myself to those other party bloggers because I just can't, because I can see their feeds and be like, oh my God, mine is like nowhere close to this because like I'm making stupid reels, like making fun of myself, or like
hilarious,
pretending to be drunk. Like, this is not me. Like, I'm like a tequila soda and Real Housewives. Like, those are my two joys in life, like not crafting all day. So you get what you get when you come to ACC. Like, I mean, it just really is that at the end of the day.
On not to circle back around, but because I know a lot of people are going to ask, so when you refer to a pitch, explain to, like, because I think there's a lot of people, especially retailers, that have a product or something that they want to get in the hands of, like, so what does a quote pitch look like?
So products is a different beast. It's way easier to get tips, education, like serving things featured because you're in like an advice article, or you're, teaching how to do a tablescape or something like that. Products is being really intentional in what major media does for different roundups. Where could your product fit in a season that's coming up? So let's just take summer. So right now I'm working with a really awesome jewelry designer. So we're looking ahead to summer for her, and like what publications are going to be doing roundups for summer style, for like colorful pops of color for date night. Like how can we craft some of those roundups for her in getting some of those features for those like kind of click through things? Or how can you show up and serve their audience with like 4 ways to style like 4 outfits that would go with these earrings or something like that. So really with your product, a pitch can come across very like, here's my product, will you showcase it? And what you need to do is, again, remember, number 1 rule of pitching always, nobody cares about you. Nobody cares about you. They care about their audience. So if you have a product that you want to get featured in major media or blogs or influencer collabs or anything like that, you need to come at it in a way that's going to serve that person and that person's audience. So your audience might be thinking ahead to spring style. So I have a new spring collection that I think would be really fun. You do try-ons on your Instagram all the time. What if I sent you 3 pairs of earrings that you can style with an upcoming try-on? What do you think about that? So like, it's that give while you're also making the ask, but it's also you're serving and providing content ideas for them. At the end of the day, editors really enjoy when you do the work for them because they are cranking out content like crazy. And so when you come at them with a really great story idea or an article idea or a roundup idea or something like that, they're like, oh, okay, we could totally like go that angle thing, like, and again, get prepared to get a lot more ghosts than no's, but at least you're kind of trying that process out and you're putting yourself out there and you're trying to get your product in front of people. So always start email first. You want to do a connection. Act like you are friends with this person. I always suggest people having some sort of relationship on Instagram first. At least follow them, at least comment a couple times, like, engage in their stories a little bit so you're not a total stranger. Then connect with them in the email and something, and refer to a past post, refer to a past article, introduce yourself very quickly, share how your product can fit a niche or a hole, or some content ideas for an upcoming story showcasing your product. End with an assertive closing, like, can't wait to work together. Let me know when you have time to chat. And then just send it. Like, easy breezy, short and sweet. That is the best when it comes to pitching an editor, because they are pitched literally all the time. And so they need something easy to read, easy to grasp, super clear and to the point, and how it will serve their reader, their audience, anything like that.
How many people are you working privately with right now, along with your boxed business?
4. I do small groups at a time. After the event last year, I did a summer membership, and I do think that I'll probably do that again starting in June. It was called Summer Street Cred, and it was 3 months of like learning how to write a pitch, figuring out like a podcast tour. Like, your podcast pitch is a lot different than your media pitch. Product also, like, it doesn't totally make sense for product-based businesses, not always, but sometimes, depending on what the product is, to be on podcasts. So that strategy is a little bit different. We talked about holiday, going into, holiday media, what that looks like, what gift guides look like, best approaches for that, stuff like that. So I do think I'll probably do that again. But But yeah, and then I might do
I
another.
so want to do that. Like, please send me the information.
I will.
Like, seriously, like I'm like my mouth is kind of hanging open right now. Like, I need this.
It's so, I love it. Like, it's a game. It really is a game. And it's one of those things, like, now it's so fun for my past girls. I was just talking to one of them yesterday, and she's like, oh my God, I just realized I was featured in this article. My Google alert went off. I didn't even know. But then I went back and talked to the editor, and she said that she remembered my pitch being so awesome. And she's like, I said it was because of you. And like, then, I mean, there's just so many, like, oh my God, I pitched the news on a whim and they said yes. And like, it's so fun to see the women that I work with have this like new confidence also. And they're like, well, sure. Yep. I got Real Simple. Yep. I got Parents. Yep. I got Martha. Like, why not? Why can't I pitch the news? Why can't I, like, what's next? What can I do next? And so one of my girls texted me and she's like, I got both of my dream media. Like, what do I do next? And I'm like, dream bigger. Like, what's next?
I gotta make sure, but you gave Elisa this information, right? Because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that reach out to you after
like I said, there's no information basically that you can find anywhere. That is changing. I'm rebranding. I'm in the process of doing a big rebrand. So me and my personal brand coaching is going to be a little bit more present on my website. Honestly, send me a DM. Allison Carter Celebrates, like that.
Because you announced you announced stuff like that, like on
Totally.
your
Yeah,
Instagram.
when I'm ready, and like, I never follow a pattern. I mean, it really, like, it's the worst business model. Like, I'm a terrible buess person when it comes to this, or maybe I'm really smart because they sell out like crazy fast. But like, it's totally non-intentional in any sort of way. I did coaching like secretly because I didn't want it to muddy the brand that I've spent so much time building. And I didn't want the editors and the people that because I'm a regular contributor for a lot of different publications, and I didn't want them being like, what are you doing? Like, is this what you do now? Like, can we not work with you anymore? And that was like confusing. And I got nervous. And so I kind of am like, I talk about it. And when I'm ready to, I usually do like a cohort, like 4 months at a time. And then once that's done, I take like a little break, like it will be done around the event. And then obviously I'll be taking a break, and then I'll start up in June and I'll do Summer Street Cred. Maybe I'll do another cohort at the same time. And it really is an email on my email list and my like stories. And then I get DMs, and then the spots fill up, and then I'm like, okay, let's go. Let's start.
I am so doing this. In watching your Instagram, it seems you have a bit of a new interest in woo-woo.
I know, isn't that so crazy?
You tell, because I am so woo-woo. Like, I burn it like Palo Santo or incense or sage almost everything. I mean, I have like my little center over here. I pull cards, like, do tell. Like,
yeah, this was from my girlfriend Hillary, so it really like was not for me. I totally believe in the universe and energy, and I'm not a religious person, and so that, like, I have a lot of faith in there's something bigger without the religious attachments, if that makes sense. Yep. So, but universe wise, I've always felt very strongly manifestation. Like, I've always been pretty good at that, visualization, stuff like that. But my friend Hillary was like, dude, there's this girl on Etsy who is doing these tarot readings, and mine was insanely accurate. You have to try it. And so I was like, okay, fine. So it was like, how is this ever going to be accurate? You give your first name and your birthday, like that's it. But hers was, the things that she said would be real fucking ballsy to say in a reading if you did not know if it was like made up, because there's no way she, like, just very personal things. And so I was like, okay, that's convincing, because I'm just like, this girl's just like a generator. Like, it's a PDF. You don't even get on the phone with her or anything. Like, it's just a download that gets sent. So I did it. I did a tarot reading for career, and I did a spirit message, and the tarot reading came back so spot on. Like, I mean, all roads pointed to the event. Like that brought up me being on stage, me having walking into this massive opportunity that I'm building, that I'm incredibly stressed out about, and how it's completely the right decision, the next move for my business. Like I made Kat do it too, so she also could get validation for the event, and hers had validation as well in it. So I was like, okay, let the spirit guides lead us, and we need to calm ourselves down about this, and it's all going to be fine, and it's going to be hugely impactful because they're telling us it's going to be. There's a couple things that I am potentially thinking about weeding out of my business, and it has been on my mind for a while. And at the end of the reading, it was very much like, there's some things that a garden can tend to get overgrown, and it can only be successful once weeding is done. And so I'm like, oh my God, I get it. And then what was kind of crazy was they talked about my spirit guide. One of them, it was this man. He was like a dapper dressed man holding roses. And so like in my, reality mind, I was like, my spirit guide is the Bachelor. Like, oh my God, like that is fun. But he's also my mom's spirit guide, and he's with my kids also. He's been with me since birth, and he was just talking about like pride and what I'm doing, and how it's fun to see me finally step into like what I have been meant to be building. Cause I've had this like crossroads sort of in celebration side or coaching side, or where does it go? Is it a fork? Or is it a merge? And like, it's very confusing sometimes. And then throw the event in there, and it's like I'm running 3 different businesses, and it's hard and it's a lot of work, but I love all of them. So it's like, what does that do? And so he just kind of gave me some validation in continuing on the path and continuing to follow my gut and things like that. But yeah, Etsy, it's a Hestia's Tarot or something like that. I'll send it. You can put it in the show notes. It was $5, and then my
$5. That's it.
It was $5, but okay, it's Hestia's Fire Tarot on Etsy. The career reading is now $10. She has bumped her prices up because I think Hillary and I have sent a lot of people to her, and the spirit guide message is now $20. But so she's
crazy. That is the cheapest reading I've ever heard. Like,
and it's crazy accurate, but I purposely didn't use my business email because I have Etsy accounts with both my email and my personal. I used my personal one just because I was like, I didn't want her to be able to like look up my business or anything like that. And so I mean, literally all you do is your first name and your birthday. That's it.
I'm so doing that. Because I'm like, I literally am that woo-woo person. I mean, like a couple of my accounts are crystal stores, and it's like, I'm around it all day long. And I totally like, I believe the same thing, the manifestation and the universe. And like, I mean, it's legit. I
know.
So I always love when I hear.
And it's like kind of comforting. It like really, if anything, it was a lot of just validation, and it really did calm me down. So however I decided to read it, whatever, but at the end of the day, it made me feel like, okay, I'm doing what I need to do. I need to remember to continue to trust myself. Every time I trust myself, it leads me to the right thing. It's when I doubt myself and when I freak out and let fear take over that things go left. And so I need to, remember that the financials of planning this event are the scariest thing that I've ever done, but the impact and the lasting growth and the impression and the authority that is going to set ourselves up for, like, at the end of the day, the amazing impact that it's going to have on so many women is like number one. Like that we keep referring back to that and thinking, and these ticket sales are actual humans that are investing in us and saying, help me, and we have their names and we like thank them and we have pour gratitude over them daily. And remembering that these are not just sales to us. These are 100% like people that are taking this leap with us. And the people in this room are going to literally see like a giant dream unfold in front of their eyes, which I mean, I think is kind of cool.
I'm so excited for you guys. I mean, I'm so excited to attend it, but I really am so excited for you guys to like, to watch you guys in action, as well as to like, I've never done one of these. So I've always wanted to go to one, and you either cost or most of the time it's timing and schedules. Cause I've packed my schedule so tight that I haven't made time for me. And this year is the first year where I was like, somebody had asked me, why are you working so hard? But why not because it's your company, but why? And I didn't have an answer. It was like, I'm building my brand, but why are you working so much? It's like, and I finally was like, I'm going to make time for me and my business and to build my brand, especially now with the paid content plan and all of that and the podcast. But it's like, I literally had to take days off the calendar and sit there and say, okay, I'm going to say yes to more events like this. So I'm super excited to watch you guys in action. I have two questions I always ask everybody at the end is, where do you find inspiration for both your coaching business as well as the branded boxes?
Inspiration, the party side, holiday side, I've always paid attention to trends and when it comes to different parties, but honestly, my inspiration is moms that are overwhelmed. And so if there's something that I don't understand the instructions for, then like it's not going anywhere. Like they need to be able to read that like 4-part instruction and be like, we got this. And if it's too complicated, like it's out. So that mom and her schedule, it's my life. And so I know that inspires me all the time. So if it's something that's adding to her plate instead of taking off of her plate, it's not something that's a fit. So her life and her schedule and that hustle mentality is always inspiration for number one with boxes. For coaching, I am an idea generating machine. Like that is my secret sauce. I can look at someone's business and come up with a million ideas on content and revenue streams and different ideas to take things and pitch ideas and things like that. And so I feel like the different businesses are constant inspirations, and I love that I work with all different businesses. Like there's no way I would accept like all party girls like in a cohort at the same time, because it would be boring for me and it would be too confused. It would be too like I love that I get like a baby play gym and an earring designer and a screen-free girl and a product coach. Like it's all, every single one is so different right now that it makes every single one excited. And so I just think I know the impact that what I teach my girls have had on me. And so that inspiration is them and what their businesses could do with a little encouragement and with a little different creativity that they're not thinking of because they're so ingrained in the moment of their business.
And the last question is, where do you see Allison Carter in 10 years?
Well, I better be freaking on that Today Show. Like that has always been my goal.
Get out there.
Out to Hoda and Jenna. That's where I see myself. I really, honestly, I would love to have my own show. That's one of the selfish underlying crazy dreams of mine with YouTube, is springboarding that into potentially my own talk show, lifestyle show, something like that. And I hope that I am happy in all aspects of my life. Like, and I am now, but I am a lot busier than I would like to be. And so I would love to free up myself in some of the things that I'm doing. Hopefully I have had weeded that garden a little bit to free up some of that growth. And that I really do feel completely satisfied and clear on the exact direction and the exact business that I'm truly meant to be building.
I also think you need a book, just to throw that in there, and it being a how-to book as well as lifestyle book. And I mean, especially because you are putting on parties, and like that's my own 2 cents.
That's funny. My mom wrote a book called Memories and Moments when I were little, and that's why I named the podcast Memories and Moments, and my subscription box is Memory Moments Unwrapped, because you're unwrapping them. And I always told my mom, like, I want to redo the book to make it more visual. Like, I want to do
Yes.
photography, and I want to have like the aspects bring that book to life in more of like a, not a coffee table style, but more modern and to, you know, like the modern day mom. So that's funny that you said that.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time. I know you're super busy and you're super stressed out with the event coming up, but I can tell you right now, I'm super excited to meet you in person and listen to you guys speak up on stage. And I'm super excited for the whole entire experience.
We are excited too. And thank you for having me. And anybody that has any questions, please let me know. Kat and I are open books literally about anything. So if you need clarity on the event, or if you want to think of it something that is right for you, we are two homies that are just like you. So hit us up and we will chat it out, audio DM style. And we are just your little biz besties cheering you on. And Michelle has a code also for you to use for $50 off your ticket.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks so much.